I feel something behind me, which makes me want to turn, and I turn around and take my attention off the earth plane and turn to the higher planes. And there's my dad, my stepdad, and the first thing he says to me, and it's telepathic, is, "It's not your time." As I'm talking with him, I feel movement to my right again, and I notice a tunnel or a portal opening up. I see a figure moving out of the center of the portal, and he's wearing a white robe. He's got shoulder-length hair, and I recognize him right away as Jesus Christ. I'm Sharon Kumara, and I've had 2 near-death experiences. One was when I was 9 years old, and again in 2001. However, I did not remember the NDE when I was 9 years old until after my near-death experience in 2001. So I like to share that one first. A little bit about my background is I was raised Catholic. However, I was not a good Catholic. My parents got divorced when I was 6. My sister and I lived with our grandmother, and she was very devout Catholic, and taught us that God is, always watching us and punishing us for doing things that children do, that type of thing. So I didn't resonate with the judgy way of looking at God, and so I pretty much grew up without a spiritual center. Although I was fine. I was a partier. I worked in accounting and worked for an oil company as an adult for most of around the time that I had my near-death experience. And so what happened was, this was in San Antonio, in Texas. My girlfriends and I went inner tubing down the Guadalupe River in New Braunfels, Texas, for a friend's birthday. We're on the river and had a great day. What happened was, at the end of the day, when we went back to the shuttle bus to get on the shuttle bus and go back to our cars, it was around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And it was a hot day. It was a nice day on the rivers during the summer. It was June 11th. And so, and we went to get on the shuttle bus, and it was full. It was one of those little school buses that holds 13 people, including the driver. And all the seats were full. I was the first one in my group to climb on, and all the seats were full. So I turned around to get off, and the people in the back of the bus were saying, "No, come on, we'll crowd everybody in." And there was my group was behind me and people behind them. So we went ahead and got on, and like I said, I was the first one of that group. And so we were standing in the alleyway, and everyone was loud and talking and having a good time. On the way back to the outrigger, which is about 2-3 miles from where they picked us up to take us back to our cars. And the bus was a 4 on the floor stick shift, and as he's driving, we're kind of thrown back and forth. The people, the whole bus is, but especially the people that are standing, there wasn't a lot to hang on to. And I was up against, my back was against the emergency exit of the bus. And as he stopped at a red light, and as he's shifting from first to second, I'm thrown back and forth, and then from second to third, I'm thrown backwards. My back hits the emergency exit door. I'm thrown off the bus. I fall out of the bus. The door pops open, and I fall out. And the first thing I remember thinking is, I can't believe I'm falling out of this bus. And then I remember all the bounces. I hit the trailer hitch. I forgot to mention that the bus was pulling a trailer, one of those utility trailers, medium size, that was carrying our inner tubes and also our ice chests. So I hit the trailer hitch on my back, and then I bounce off that, and I bounce underneath the trailer and onto my side. And at that point, I'm thinking in my head, screaming out in my head, stop, you're killing me. And at that point, the back tire of the trailer runs over my neck and my head. And that's when I popped out of my body through my head. And so I guess I knew something was going to happen. And I'm looking down, I'm floating above my body. I'm looking down at the street, and I'm floating there thinking, okay, well, I guess, I died. I just knew that this was what happens. I didn't feel any pain. I wasn't afraid or anything like that. Like, I was obviously pretty terrified when the tire ran over my head, right the second before that. But after that, I wasn't afraid. There was no terror, no fear or anything like that. And so I'm looking down at my body, and had felt no attachment to it. And I saw one of those commuter buses driving up to where my body is. And I remember I was thinking, I hope that bus doesn't run over my body, because that would make a big mess. But I didn't have any feeling for my body, like it would hurt or anything like that. I just thought, oh, that'd make a big mess of my body. I didn't want that to happen. And then I thought about my friends. There was 5 of us. And then I thought about them and how this was going to ruin their day, because we had a really good day on the river and we had a lot of fun. And then here I go and die on them. I was thinking that, which would ruin their day, ruin my friend's birthday, that type of thing. And so, but didn't make me want to go back, even though I didn't even think about the thought of going back to my body and going back to my life. And then I think about my partner at the time and my sister, my family, my sister and her family, and that I knew that they would be all right. They would be sad for a while, but they would be okay. Then I started thinking about my mom, who I was taking care of at the time. And I'd feel something behind me, which makes me want to turn. And I turn to my right and turn around and take my attention off the earth plane and turn to the higher planes. And there's my dad, my stepdad there. He had died in 98, which was really a big catalyst for me when he died, because I had not lost anyone really close to me, and we were very close. And I started having, this is another story, but I started having spontaneous sleep paralysis episodes after he died, because I was diving in to what happens when we die. I couldn't believe the Catholic teachings of you either go to heaven, hell, or purgatory type of thing. And so I was reading books on the afterlife, and that was waking up something within me, which made sense. Like mediumship books like James von Prague and John Edward a lot at that time, and George Anderson was the first book I read, We Don't Die. I'm like, okay, this makes sense to me. It really resonated with me and hit something in my soul. Okay, this is what happens when we die. We don't really die, like the book says. And so my stepfather was there, and I was very happy to see him. And the first thing he says to me, and it's telepathic, is, it's not your time. And I didn't quite understand that. I argued with him and said, well, I want to stay with you. That type of thing. It was more telepathic, not in so many words, except for that. I do remember that. It's not your time. And he was telling me in telepathic thoughts that my mom still needed me and that I still had more work to do. As I'm talking with him, I feel movement to my right again, and I notice a tunnel or a portal opening up. And so I turn toward that, and I call it the ancestor tunnel. And I see my ancestors within that tunnel as it's growing, and it's drawing me to it. And I see my ancestors that I would recognize here, and some that I recognize there, but I would not recognize in the body. Does that make sense? That I would know in the body. I mean, in this lifetime. And I noticed that they weren't really happy to see me, but there was something inside me that knew we get a celebration when we go home. I just knew, okay, well, when our time on earth is finished, that we're happy to return home. Our peeps, our soul group is there celebrating with us and for us. And that wasn't happening. So I knew something was up. And as I'm being drawn toward the tunnel, I see another portal past that one. And this one looks like the sun. It's golden white in color, and it's growing wider and wider. And so I'm gazing at that, and as it grows, I see a figure moving out of the center of the portal. And he's wearing a white robe. He's got hair, shoulder-length hair. And I recognize him right away as Jesus Christ. And like I said, I wasn't religious at all. I didn't really have a spiritual center. I did believe there's some powerful being, God, infinite intelligence source, whatever we want to call it, that was watching out for me, because I probably should have left this body before that, because I took chances in my life, a partier and young and stupid with things. Although I did keep down a job, so that I was proud of myself for that. And so I see Christ and I recognize him right away. And I flew to him because I remembered that I missed him terribly. I really missed him. And he embraced me. And he tells me the same thing my dad tells me, that it's not my time. He said, it's not your time. And I told him I wanted to stay with him. I wanted to stay there with him. And he chuckles, which is a beautiful sound. And he lifts up my chin with his hand, and where I can see his eyes, because at that point he's taller than me. I'm 5'8". He's probably maybe, 6'1", 6'2", around that, in terms of height from where I was standing. And he's, so I'm gazing into his eyes, and his eyes look bright blue to me, very bright blue, very bright. And as I'm gazing into his eyes, I realize that I see the universe in his eyes. I'm seeing through his eyes the universe. I'm seeing the universe in his eyes. And then I am mirroring. I realize, and all this is happening at once, I realize that I am mirroring the universe in my eyes as well. So I'm being filled with the universe. I'm remembering in that moment that we have the universe within us. We are the universe. And then I feel warmth in my heart center. I still see myself or remember myself as Sharon. I'm still in that space. And I feel warmth in my heart center, in my chest. And I realize that he's filling me up with love and light. And I start merging with him within that space. And I am filled with love, filled with light. I realize that I am light. I am intelligent light. The light that we are, the light is intelligent. It's tangible. It's sentient. And I'm filled with bliss and joy. I like to describe it as if I had a face, I would be smiling so wide that my face would break. That's how joyful it is to be filled with that, to remember and be filled with that light and be that light. So my attention was brought back because I heard my name. He called my name. I remember myself as Sharon. And he asked me, he says, would you like to go on a journey with me? And I say, yes. And so he holds out his hand, and I take his hand. And as soon as I take his hand, we are flying through the cosmos, or the cosmos is moving through us. As we're moving, I see in the distance a blue light. And I realize that is a portal. So as we get closer, we fly through the portal. It's a star. And we fly through the portal, the star. Stars are portals. We fly through that, just like a sun. And this one's blue. And we fly through that, and we end up in another space and time, another frequency. And I see a blue-green glowing orb. And I realize that is a planet. I remember and realize, oh gosh, this is a home for me. And my personal matrix starts to remember and reconnect with the matrix of the planet, the mother energy of the planet, like we call Mother Earth. That mother, her body has a matrix just like Earth does and we do. And so I was being connected with that planet, and I was brought into the awareness. I moved from being Sharon to the awareness of the planet, and I was able to see through her eyes and how much love and compassion and gratitude she has for every single being on the planet, on her body, which is the planet. And I could move my awareness of the planet to single cell amoeba or anything that is on the planet, that is placed on that planet. And within that awareness, every single sentient part of that planet had so much love and gratitude for the planet herself. Her body was aware of the love and the gratitude. It was symbiotic. And as I'm in that space and moving back and forth, it was just natural for me. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I remember this. I remember. I hear my name being called again. And he asked me if I want to go down, and I say yes. And so we go down to the planet and dive in. And I am reunited with my family. I have a family on that water planet, ocean planet. I have parents. I have a community. I have children, babies, that type of thing. So I have a life there in that dimensional existence. And as I'm remembering that life, which I can go there anytime, he told me later, I realized that this is an existence that I have now, because when I was reunited with my family, they knew me and knew that I had a mission, so to speak. Well, we all have our missions, right? That I had a mission here on Earth. They knew that. And so they were happy to see this part of me as Sharon, visiting that part of me within my body. Difficult to explain, but they were able to understand that I was had brought that part of myself back into the body for a visit, I guess. And they told me they'll be there when I do return. And so so I was brought back. I heard my name again, and I was brought back. And Yeshua says, "Are you ready to go back?" And I tell him, "Okay, on one condition, that I know for sure that you are with me all the time on Earth, and you walk with me throughout the rest of my life in a tangible way, that I know that you are with me side by side and help me through my life." He said, "It's a deal." And then I was back in my body in the road, and I jump up and I run to the side of the road. By then, the driver had stopped a couple blocks up because he didn't know I had fallen out right away. It took a few minutes, even though people were screaming at him. It was noisy. And so my friends run and help me, and they call an ambulance. And I'm taken to the hospital. And they did x-rays. I was bleeding from my ear, but it was just, they were worried it was a concussion, but there was no concussion. It was just my ear was kind of torn off that they fixed. I had road rash. I still have some injuries that I may, like back injury that I just have to maintain the pain. And I have some nerve damage in my neck, and that causes a wobble kind of thing. But other than that, I was there 5 hours and they released me. I mean, I was sore for a long time. Yeah, a long time. And however, it could have been worse. I do believe that when he filled me with light, or when I became the light, I believe that healed my body. remember we have Christ within us all the time, but Christ, the being, Yeshua, Jesus, call him in, ask him to be a guide for you, ask him to sit with you in your meditations. That's what I started doing is when I was remembering him, remembering the experience. He had to help me remember, though, in this realm, that I am worthy of him being with me, because in the higher realms that we're not like that, but in this realm we don't feel worthy of Christ, ascended beings. We don't feel worthy of their love. We don't feel worthy of God's love. That's the core of why we beat ourselves up, why we don't believe that we are as powerful as we really are. We're huge, powerful beings, and we're finding that out little by little. But yeah, invite him in, trust that he's there, look for signs, ask him to be with you throughout your day. Like, what's the song, Jesus Take the Wheel kind of thing? Ask him to help you. Meditate. Meditation is listening, prayer is talking to God. So make space for him.